In this video, I'll be showing you how to speed paint a Nurgle Plaguebearer mainly using washes and technical paints. So if the new point drops from the General's Handbook 2020 got you interested in Nurgle, well, in this video I'm going to show you how to quickly and speedily paint up a Nurgle Plaguebearer, which you can also use exactly the same techniques across your whole army. We're mainly going to be using washes and GW technical paints with 1 or 2 different layers. Like I said, this is a nice speed painting army and it'll be easy to get it straight onto the tabletop. So first thing you want to do is prime your model. Now I've used Halford's Khaki Spray. It's a kind of very beige looking spray, as you can see. I love it for fleshes and washes, things like that. It's kind of a great little colour. It's a little bit like Agrax Flesh, but a little bit more, teeny bit more yellow. But this is going to be your main colour. If you've not got this, like I said, kind of base coat white and then put a full layer of Agrax Flesh on. But if you're in the UK, Halford's Primer is the one that you've got. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to be using Athonian Camoshade, and this is going to be a shade across the whole entire model. It's basically to give that sickly green colour that you're looking for, and like I said, it's literally going all the way on. You can go into all the guts because we'll be covering them all up in a bit, but the aim is to make sure that the whole model is covered. If there's any pooling, obviously just move it away with your brush and then push it away. What we're going to be doing once you've covered this, let it all dry, and then you're going to do it all over again just to give it a kind of solid green colour. If you do one colour, I mean, you might want to do it one colour, but I find doing it one colour kind of still shows quite a bit of the khaki. So if you do a second coat of Athonian Camoshade, and then you'll really get the sickly green kind of showing through that the Plaguebearers are known for. Now the weapon, just leave that because the weapon is going to be a kind of rusty colour that we'll do afterwards. I mean, if you get paint on it, it doesn't matter because we'll be covering it up, but you don't need to do it right now. But just make sure that you've got it all in there. Like I said, you've kind of all of these little nodules and pus spoils and everything like that. You can cover it all up, and we're going to be using some of the layer paints and technical paints to kind of make that a bit better. But once you're happy, like I said, just let that dry. Let it dry absolutely complete. I mean, if you've got a batch of these in your speed painting, just literally do 10 of them in a row, and by the time you finish the last one, then your first one should be dry. But what we'll do, I'll let this dry, do another layer of it, and then we'll get back with the next step. So once the wash is dry, it's on to the next step. Now, like I said previously, if you only do one layer, one on the left hand side only has one layer at the minute, so you can see it's still got a slight green, but a lot of the khaki is still showing through, whereas the one on the right, the one that we're working on, has got the 2 layers, and suddenly it looks a lot darker in the recesses. A lot of the skin looks a lot more coloured, so it's completely up to you. I mean, you could mix between the two, that's always another option, so you've got a little bit of differentiation in the unit. But the next step we're going to be doing, we're going to be highlighting all of the guts, the ripped skin around it, all of the pus boils, any kind of torn skin bits. We're going to be using Carroburg Crimson for this, so it's another wash. It's nice and easy. Best thing is you can kind of control exactly how much you're going on. I'm using a small layer brush for this just because it makes it a bit easier than a huge wash brush. But all that you're doing, like I said, you're literally just painting in, filling in all the way around. If you do find out that you've put too much on somewhere, you can just pull away from it. But what you do as you keep going, like I said, it's a really quick and effective way. You're kind of just showing all of the kind of, not blood, but it's kind of like the kind of bruised skin that you've got. I mean, if you wanted to, you could try Druchii Violet or anything like this. So just find Carroburg Crimson. Just kind of has that kind of torn, kind of part bloodied effect. And once you do this over the whole model, on all of these kind of nodules, really add some definition to the different levels. And add that second colour that you're looking for, just to kind of break up a lot of the green. Now we're not finished with the green. In a minute we're going to be doing a layer, just picking out some of the highest areas, just going to add an extra bit of a level. You could miss that bit out because, like I said, this is kind of the extra colour that you're looking for. Like I said, you literally just go around, find all the little pus boils, the little torn bits of skin. I think that's all of them. And you just cover it all in. Now you only need to do one layer of this because we're going to be doing another colour on top of these. But as you can see there, get that focused properly. There. Instantly, I mean that's taken a couple of seconds. Get rid of that bit as well. You can just see it's kind of highlighted everywhere. And already you can kind of see the diseased, rotting look of the Plaguebearer. So yeah, we'll let that dry and then we'll get on to the next step. Once this is all dried, like I said, you've kind of got the basics of what your model's going to look like. So the next thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be highlighting all of these little nodules that you can see around here. They're kind of like boils for the army. Plaguebearers have lots and lots of them, but we're literally just doing a little spot colour just to make them pop out. So I'm using a Army Painter regiment brush, and we're using Vallejo Hot Orange for this, or Orange Fire even. And all you're doing, you're just doing a little dot on each of the little nodules just to make them stand out a little bit. You want to still want that red wash showing underneath, because that's the kind of bruised part of the skin, but you just want the top bit. Just use the side of your brush on the very top bit, and you just want to be highlighting every single section here. You can see it starts showing up. So what we're going to be doing is, like I said, you just want a teeny bit, and the paint's nice and thin, so it's quite an easier thing. You just want to catch that all. Now if you do get any on the skin, don't worry, because like I said, we are going to tidy the skin up in a minute. But what we'll do, we'll go around, we'll highlight all of these, and then we'll be back showing you the end result. And here is the end result. So as you can see, it's really simple. It's nice and quick, and actually once you get into a rhythm it's not too bad to highlight. It just gives you that extra bit of colour. Now you could do those any colour. I quite like the orange, but you could do it in purple, you could do it in blue. You've kind of got that spot colour that then flows through for the rest of your army. So the next thing we want to be doing is we're going to be highlighting the skin, but we're not going to be doing lots of it because, like we said, this is a speed painting and it is quite a quick one. So we're just going to be doing Nurgling Green, and we're just going to be going in and kind of highlighting some of these teeny little higher areas, a couple of the fingers. Just gives it an extra little bit of colour, but we're not going too crazy. Like I said, this is speed painting rather than actual proper painting. So I'm using the regiment brush from Army Painter, and just want to be going in, adding an extra bit of colour, just anywhere you want, just to kind of break it up a little bit. Do a little bit on the face. I'm going to be highlighting those teeth in a minute anyway, so just make sure it all pops a little bit. Now you may find that you want to go even more crazy and highlight lots and lots, but for me it's all about just having an extra splash just in amongst everything else. And as you can see, it's just beginning to just highlight a couple of bits, That's the fingers, you can just do a teeny bit there. So for some of the models you may want to kind of highlight some of this flesh and not have it all kind of all bruised. You may want to have a little bit of overhanging flesh or some kind of fresh areas, so you can just do something like that. And then down the back as well, these little spines, just highlight them all as well. Just make sure it's all covered. Go down here, backs of the legs. Just these bits here. Like I said, it's nice and simple. I mean, this is if you really want to speed paint, you can just ignore this. I like just adding an extra teeny bit. It doesn't take too long. Like I said, just adds a teeny bit extra bit of colour, add a little bit more on those knuckles there. And there you go, just an extra, a little bit of colour. And now we'll get on to doing all the teeth and the claws. So that's it with all the layers on. So as you can see, I've highlighted the eye orange as well. Again, just choose whichever colour you kind of fancy. And now we're going to be doing all the claws and teeth. And for this we're using Vallejo German Camouflage Beige, World War II. Nice little colour. It's kind of, you could use a Screaming Skull or anything like that. Just want an extra bit. Now what you want to try and do is just highlight these. And then we're going to hit that with an Agrax wash in a minute and go back over it again. So if you kind of do go in between the gaps, it's not that big a deal. The fingernails, you literally want to go underneath. And then the toes as well. So you may look at this and think it's a little bit too light for the skin, but once you put some Agrax on it and then go back over it, it kind of really adds to definition. Now, like I said, you could go Xandri Dust followed by Screaming Skull, or whatever your go-to for kind of bones and fingernails is, but done that, done the hands, done the teeth, it's nice and easy. Now, some of the Plaguebearers, they do have teeth in here, so again, it's just following the same steps. I just want to tidy that up. Just make sure it's all good. And then while that dries, what we'll do all the blood effects as well. And while the Agrax wash dries, we've now got the fun bit, which is blood for the blood god, the GW technical paint, which is just awesome. Now this is literally just on all of these guts. It's just a nice slather it all on. Doesn't matter if you kind of get it over as well, and any of the torn skin as well. So you want on that arm there at the top. Got an arm section there, chest piece there. And like I said, if you kind of overspill, that's not a problem. You do kind of want some of the Carroburg Crimson to show, but do it into these as well. The back, you want this back piece here. And I mean, with this, you could, if you wanted to, go to Nurgle's Rot and put that in instead. I quite like using Blood for the Blood God just because it looks kind of like they're freshly decayed and they're kind of coming back. You can see that. Nice, gruesome looking Plaguebearer, which is great. So now that the blood has dried and the Agrax has dried, I've gone in with Vallejo Bonewhite, and that's just to pick out the horns up here, the kind of teeth and the claws again, just so they kind of stand out a little bit better. I've also painted the sword Leadbelcher and gave it a Reikland Fleshshade wash. Now this is a kind of reddish colour to kind of create that the rusted effect. What we're going to do, I mean, you could kind of stop there if you wanted to, because that is kind of quite rusty anyway, but what I'm doing is just going in with Vallejo Orange Fire again. You just want to use one of your trusty makeup brushes, just get as much of it off as you can on a piece of kitchen towel or paper, and you just want to kind of dab at it a little bit, just so it picks up a little bit more of the orange, just to add that rust colour in. And again, you can kind of choose how rusty you make this. You might want it really rusty and then you add lots of orange. You may want it kind of not very rusty, you may want them fresh, but with it being Nurgle, everything is decaying, so we just want it looking like that. And then once you've done that, I'm going to get the Stormhost Silver out, and we're kind of going to do almost the same. We'll just use a tiny dry brush, and what we're going to do is take a little bit of Stormhost Silver, work it into the brush. You don't really need to wait until the orange is dry, and you just want to kind of get it on the edges, just dab it on, not stipple, but kind of just like that, just so it kind of picks up some of the raised areas, and you've got a nice rusty blade. Now if you want to, you could use the oxide paint from GW as well, just to add an even more kind of rusty weathered look, but that's kind of quite sufficient enough. And there we have them. So what we'll do, I'll get them based up and then we'll have a look at the final picture. And as you can see, here is the finished Plaguebearer. So it is a very nice, simple, quick scheme to make an army look really effective. Nurgle is one of the best armies to do this on because they've got lots of these like paws and ripped skin, so you can go crazy with the technical paints and get an army tabletop really quickly. If you like the video and want to see more, please hit that subscribe button and don't forget to hit the bell as well to be notified when we put out more videos. But until next time, take it easy and we'll see you then.